Wow, this is crazy. How far down I can see. Fish. Yep. Good turn. All right. Doesn't feel giant. Today I am at a very special lake for kokanee anglers. This is Wallowa Lake, and this is home to the world record kokanee. Almost a decade ago, this lake produced a series of earth-shattering kokanee in the 9 to 10 pound range, and it still holds the record to this day, and it still produces really large fish. Now, the days of 8, 9 pound kokanee are gone, but there are still fish pulled out of here every year in the 4 to 6 pound class. Although it's a very challenging fishery. You have to cover a lot of water, and you're not always going to come away with a big fish. But it does consistently produce good numbers of kokanee. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, so this is a nice kokanee here. It's probably a good 13-inch fish right there. So we know we're on to them. Right now water temps are in the upper 50s, so I am still just flatlining, but that's a very healthy looking fish. Happy to take that home. But hopefully we can find some of these bigger fish. Looks like we got some afternoon or evening winds picking up here. I got here just a little bit before 5. I thought I'd troll for a few hours this evening, and then I got all day tomorrow to fish it. Wasn't any winds in the forecast, but it's not uncommon to get evening and morning winds in the mountains. So it's a stunning day though, beautiful. So on this rod I'm running a Paulina Peak light pink, purple, and moon jelly. And I've been running a teardrop over here, but I'm getting no love on that. I've had 2 fish on this. I literally got a fish within like the first minute of fishing with that. It was a tiny fish that threw the hook. The limit in this lake is 25. So I'm going to do something I usually don't typically do, and that's, with water temps essentially prime on the surface and air temps not too bad, I'm going to be releasing most of my smaller fish, mostly because I just have an incredible amount of kokanee in my freezer already, and I've got lots more kokanee fishing to do. So I'm gonna try and net them, get them out and back on their way if they're smaller fish. And you don't want them to eat. Feels like a little bit better than the last one. So one of the things that led to that cycle where they had those really massive fish here is that the kokanee production in this lake is natural primarily, and so the fish run up into the Wallowa River, which feeds into the upper end of the lake, and spawn there. And what happened is there was a landslide, from what I understand, that blocked access to the best spawning beds, and they had very little production for a few years. And what happened is, with such little competition and so few fish in the lake, they were able to get huge. This is a little guy, little kokanee. We can just pop him using the pliers here. Calm down, buddy. There he goes. Good. That's my third one. And so, yeah, they were able to get huge. There was essentially just a couple age classes that were just giant. And eventually access to the spawning areas were restored, and population, when it came back really strong because there's a lot of food resources. And so there was a while there where it was kind of a bunch of just small fish primarily. And then gradually, starting about 4 or 5 years ago, we started getting bigger and bigger fish again. I came down here and got into some really nice fish, and I'll put links to that video. But I'm really excited to be back down here, and I'm definitely not expecting to like come away with just a pile of giants. I'm gonna have to work through these smaller fish and find the bigger fish. Ooh, there's fish. There we go. Oh, this feels like a tank. Got him on that drop on the inside. This feels like a good one. Got some girth to it. Hopefully. There's some decent sized rainbow trout in here too, so you never know it could be that. I haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, that's a nice kokanee. That's a decent kokanee. There we go. Let's get like 15. Take that. I'll keep that. It's a good sized fish. Right there. Fat. Healthy looking. Kind of wanted to get out here this evening and shake it down, see what colors are working best and what lures they're reacting to and what depth they're feeding at. And one of the things I learned the first time I fished Wallowa was not to be afraid to troll shallow. Like, if you're trolling on the top, you can go up and troll 8-10 foot of water. There's kokanee up there. There we go. I can just crank it in like that, you know it's small. It's good though that there's a lot of kokanee in here and diversity of age classes. Funny thing is, this is like an average fish in most Washington lakes that are overstocked. We've got another one going over there. Yeah. Doubled up. Doubled up. There's a lot of little kokanee in here right now. Let's see if we can shake this guy. There he goes. Shimmy, shimmy, kokanee pop. Definitely getting cooler. When I'm goofing around doing stuff like this, that's when I always get a big fish. As on cue. This one feels nice. Not giant, but it's got a little more heft to it than some of the fish I've had today. Oh yeah, good head shaking. That's not a bad sized fish right there. I'm gonna take that one home. Here we go. That's a good 14-incher. That was on the red orange hoochie. Oh, he's off too. Look at that. How easy is that? There you go. It's not a bad fish. Get him back here. Well, I think that's going to do it for me this evening. I still have all day tomorrow and the next day in the morning. I mean, I caught like probably 17 or 18 kokanee tonight, but most are pretty small and probably in that 8 to 10 inch range, and then had a handful of fish that were in the 13 to 15, which are, you know, solid kokanee anywhere, but none of the really big fish that this lake has been putting out in the past, and there's been some good catches this year, so hopefully we'll get into them tomorrow and find one or two big ones, I'm hoping. Alright guys, see ya in the morning. Nice fish. First one of the morning. Feels small. It's a baby. Lots of these little guys this year. Okay, come on. There he goes. Ooh, that's heavy. This could be a good one. Or just a big trout. Looks like it's gonna be a big trout. Usually those big kokanee jump. Yep. That's a big rainbow though. Pretty. Gorgeous. That's a nice rainbow. Big chunker. There we go. That feels like a decent one. Yeah, that feels like a good one on the drop back. Decent fish though. That's a good keeper size. Yeah. Hooked him in the bottom of the gills. There's a good one. Not a giant, but he's decent. Oh, it's a Mackinaw. Not every day you catch a Mackinaw 10 foot of water. There goes a Mackinaw. Not a very big guy, but really pretty. So Wallowa Lake does have a pretty sizable Mackinaw population. And that helps to keep the kokanee population in check. So, you know, that kokanee population will ramp up, get big. The Macks will start preying on them more and more as you get these stunted sizes. A lot of the smaller Macks can then eat them. And they cycle back down. So the kokanee population here is very cyclical, which is typical of a lot of kokanee lakes for the fishery. Depends on a wild spawning population. So during those lean years, you're going to get fewer fish, bigger fish. During those abundance years, you're going to get lots of small fish. There's another Brett on the drop back. There we go. They like that orange. This feels like a little better fish. Nice 14-inch, 15-inch fish. There we go. Take that. Okay, there we go. Alright. Well, I had to go and get my downrigger. Not because I actually need a downrigger, but there's been a boater out here who keeps cutting me off on purpose, and I asked him about it and he just laughed at me. So with a downrigger, if he comes and tries to cut me off again, I'll just rake across all of his gear and cut it off. Because being nice doesn't always seem to work. Unfortunately, that is something I have encountered off and on when I've been kayak fishing, is an occasional powerboat angler who just wants to bully. Most powerboat anglers are super awesome and very respectful and give me the same amount of space they would give any other boat, but some people seem to get their socks rocked by just being mean. Definitely having to cycle through certain colors. First thing in the morning, orange was hot. Never really could get anything going on pink. Then switched this up to chartreuse and started picking up more. So we'll do chartreuse green here. Keep marking fish at 40 feet since I'm not catching anything up high. I'm just gonna go see what they are. Fish on. Didn't take long getting down there. Let's see what these fish are. That's a decent sized poke. Well, maybe the big kokanee are down deep. That's a keeper. Yeah, that's a decent sized fish. Better than what I've been getting all morning up top. Alright, we'll go deep again. I didn't bring my lead droppers for going down the line, so I'm gonna have to crank it up every time, which kind of sucks, but sometimes you just gotta trust your fish finder. Kind of weird though, I'm catching them on the surface and then I'm down at 40, 60 feet. Kind of expecting them to be right on top, but it's not appearing to be the case today. So weird. Last night they were all over the surface. And I wasn't marking anything deep. And this morning I caught some on the surface, but they've mostly been deep. As you can see, there's a lot of kokanee out here deep. Some of those fish are 13, 14 inches, but there's a lot. I'm gonna give this till 11 and then kill it. Go back into town, rest, get food, and then come back out here for an evening troll again. Yesterday's evening troll was way more productive. It's been pretty spotty today. So behind me is the dam at Wallowa Lake. Now, Wallowa Lake is a natural lake, but they built this dam in 1919 to do some flood control and increase the capacity of the lake a little bit as well, so they can control the lake level a little more easily. But that dam is over 100 years old, and it is a very unsafe dam. So this year, the state Oregon legislature funded almost $20 million to repair that dam. So that's going to fix the dam so that they can, actually right now you can see they have it lowered because they're worried about it would fail under a full load. But because of any time there's work done on a dam, it causes a review process, including fish passage. Now, Wallowa Lake used to have a sockeye run, so they come up the Snake River, up the Wallowa River, and spawn in the headwaters of this lake. When they built the dam, that was it for the wild sockeye run. But the Nez Perce and Umatilla tribes want to see a sockeye run restored to this lake, and that probably is going to be a death nail for the large kokanee fisheries in here. My experience is that in lakes with both kokanee and sea-run sockeye, that the kokanee tend to be smaller and they have to manage for smaller fish because they don't want people harvesting adult sockeye. But I look at examples like Cle Elum, Baker Lake, Osoyoos Lake, that all have sea-run or anadromous sockeye. They have kokanee, but those kokanee don't get very large, in part because these lakes aren't very productive. And when you have sea-run sockeye come in, sure, they bring in lots of marine nutrients, but then all of those smolts take up all those nutrients and out-migrate with them. So big changes coming. I don't know how long that's going to take. My experience is that building fish passage and restoring a wild salmon run takes time. And it would be really cool to have a terminal sockeye fishery here as well, rather than large kokanee. The kokanee in here can be very cyclical, as I've said, but yeah, time will tell how that's going to impact and what kind of reverberations that's going to have on the kokanee fishery here. All right, guys, I'm out here again. Evening number 2, third trip out on Wallowa. The other evening, really good bite, a little windy. No really big fish. This morning I saw one 22-inch fish caught, a couple 18s, but I know there's 5 to 7 pounders coming out of here periodically, so just gonna keep at it. I'm gonna troll some familiar water, and then I'm gonna break off and go test some new water, just see if I can come up with something. And since this morning, I initially started out without a downrigger, went with a downrigger mostly so that just in the event I got cut off, I could cut them off. And now I think towards the end of that morning, I started finding fish deeper. So I think I want to have it on me just in case I need it. And I'll just use this instead of droppers. I really just want one fish above 20. Not looking for a limit. Just one big one. with as few big ones that are being caught, and as many small ones as there are, I kind of feel like this is probably the last year that this lake's going to produce big fish for a while. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just get that sense that with these upcoming age classes being so abundant, I just don't see this lake kicking out 5 and 6 pounders for much longer, if any at all, past this year. Ugh. Yucky. Yucky, yucky. Turned sloppy in a hurry. Oh, there's a good fish. It's a big rainbow. Dang it. Really pretty rainbow. There you go. Look at that rainbow. It's pretty. Kinda stormy out here. See you, bud. Well, that's another 5 hours trolling. And nothing to show. Well, I mean, I got a big rainbow. Phew. That's about it. Well, I'll be back out tomorrow morning for my last shot at these big Wallowa kokanee. They are hard to come by. Well, it looks like I am not going to come away with the big fish. I feel disappointed. I really wanted to show you guys at least one of the amazing fish that this lake does produce and is producing still. Albeit, you really got to put in your time and be here at the right time. Anyways, today I did fairly well. Caught, I would be happy with the fish I caught anywhere else on any other lake. Like I keep telling people, it's when your mindset is on trying to target 5 to 7 pound kokanee and you come up and you catch a bunch of 13 to 15 inch fish with a few 16s thrown in there, it's, I'd be happy with those fish anywhere else. So I should be happy with it. It's a very beautiful lake, fun little tourist town too, so it's great for family if you want to come up and visit. There's some decent rainbow trout in here too, as well as Mackinaw. But, I kind of figured at some point along this journey of kokanee across America, I would hit a snag, struggle to connect with the big fish that I really wanted. It was bound to happen, and I'm sure it'll probably happen again as I continue on. That's just part of fishing, right? So, all right, guys, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. And as always, I'm very appreciative towards my sponsors, including Old Town Canoe and Kayak, Paulina Peak, Ram Mounts, Procure, Humminbird, and Cannon Downriggers. All right, guys, I'll see you guys next time out on the water. Just remember, fish smarter, not harder. Bye, guys.